Coach, you know the history of this series. Is this, you think, as close talent-wise as the gap has been in maybe 10 years? I know last year was a 9-point game, but coming into this game, from what you've seen, you know Penn State, you've coached against them recently. Where are you talent-wise matching up for these guys?
Well, I mean, they've got great talent now. Don't be misled by any of that. I watched their defense. I think their defense from 1 year ago to now is extremely improved. I think their defensive front is one of the better defensive fronts I've seen. I can compare it to where I was. It's an SEC caliber defensive front. You know, I look at Devin Still and Jordan Hill, the nose and the three technique. They're outstanding. They're disruptive. They're big. They're athletic. I think their linebackers are strong, run through the ball. Their coverage, they have great people in the coverage. I think they're a legitimate defense. And, you know, I spend most of my time watching the defense, so that's why I feel, you know, I just got done watching them on offense a little bit as well. But I would say to you that their talent's outstanding. Their talent is the talent of an upper-tier BCS program. And I won't make any mistake on that now.
Steve, difference between Hill and Still from the last time you saw him in the bowl game,
yeah,
it was seemed against Alabama they'd really improved, right?
If you watch the tape, I watched a lot of film on them last year. From the beginning of the year to the end of the year, they improved up front. I had a couple pretty really good offensive linemen, and I remember during that game them coming off saying, "Man, those two inside guys, the 71 is a really good football player," and that's coming from a guy who's the highest drafted player in the history of the NFL, interior lineman. So. He had really developed from the beginning of the year to the end of the year. Then I put the film on this year.
Is that Pouncey that said that, or who?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I put the film on this year, and I watch him, and I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
I mean, I've studied that in my career as the interior guys, right? And I was just like, wow, he's a legitimate guy. And then the nose guard, 47, Hill, is very active. He's an extremely active guy. He's disruptive. And so I think those two guys really can raise havoc on your run game in there. So anyways, if I answered your question, is what's their talent level like? Their talent level is an upper BCS tier talent.
And when your talent level compared to previous Temple games coming up against Penn State?
You know, it's hard for me to judge what's been in the past. I don't have a great vision. The only past I can relate to really is what I saw when I was involved playing against them in the bowl game. And I've watched some tape, obviously, from last year. But this Penn State team on defense is much improved from a year ago. It's not really comparable. And the talent level there is outstanding. I like our team. But if you're asking me about their talent level, it's outstanding. You know, it just is. I think it's something different. Just put the tape on and watch it.
What do you think about their quarterback situation at Penn State? How do you view that, and how do you prepare for both players?
Yeah, I mean, I just got done watching that, so I mean, it's kind of fresh on me. I spent most of the last couple of days on the other side of the ball, but I wanted to get a feel for them on offense. And I watched them take the ball in the first quarter against Alabama, and they look pretty damn good to me now. Okay, they have a good, strong offensive line, very athletic. They got a really good running back. I think he's outstanding. That quarterback is really accurate on the move. I think the receivers are dynamic. I do. I mean, I watched them. I understand where I'm coming from now. A year ago, I didn't even watch one snap of them on offense, right? So I'm just watching them for the first time. Those receivers are dynamic. They're very athletic. The running back, I think, is a really, really good football player. Their offensive line looks very balanced up front to me. And watching the two quarterbacks, I watched the other kid in the second half of the game. The first kid, he's Bolden and McGloin. Bolden is very athletic, and he throws on the move very well. And they like to take shots down the field now, and which is how that goes. I mean, that's feast or famine. You can get a big strike, and if you don't, then you got a lot of 2nd and 10s. You're off schedule, and it can be disruptive. But their talent level on offense is very good. I mean, I said, oh God, I watched that film today, and I'm like, wow, they weren't able to find a rhythm in that game against Alabama, is all that was. But the talent level, excellent.
Steve, last week, understandably, you didn't want to talk about Penn State.
Right.
Okay. Now that it's here, every game's important, but there's a lot of Temple people look at this as, Penn State's coming. And
yeah.
Is there a different level to a game like this when you're?
Yeah.
You've been in a lot of big games.
Yeah, I mean, I could sit here. We're going to approach it the same way we approach every week. That's just the way it is, okay? But I'm going to sit here and tell you that there's not a little bit more of a, giddy up in your step. I mean, come on. It's the competitor and everybody, right? You're talking about our kids understand that Penn State's coming in here, storied program. We got a little, we're here at 10th and Diamond, and we want to have an opportunity to take our crack, right? So, I mean, there's going to be all that right here. I mean, that's all part of that deal, and you can't let that run away with it, the emotion of it, but there's going to be emotion in there, and it's classic in these kind of games. So, you got to, my job is to make sure that we play with great passion and great energy and great emotion, but that's the standard we need to play with, and not try to, go too far on that end as opposed to making sure we're executing at a high level. And understand that this is going to be a 4-quarter game, and we got to get this thing down to the 4th quarter. And there's going to be a lot of peaks and valleys in this deal. It's the way it is, and you just got to be able to, you can't ride those waves. You got to be able to hammer through the thing.
See, how much the fact that they went up there last year and played them even for the whole game, and a lot of those kids are back.
Yeah.
When now you're preparing for them again, and they're coming here.
Yeah. I mean, our kids are not intimidated by Penn State, but they respect them. And I think that's the healthy way to approach it. They respect the fact that this is a very good football team. You see, what happens is we get the advantage, so do our players, to watch the tape, slow it down and rewind it. And the eye in the sky doesn't lie. I mean, guys know, coaches know, players know. They watch the tape, they say, hey, that's a good football team right there. Sometimes other things get blown out of proportion one way or the other, but that's a good football team right there. So they know it. So they have a healthy respect, and I think that's the way it should be. And it should be a healthy respect. We're playing Penn State, okay? And they're an outstanding football team. They really are. But in the same breath, like you said, yeah, we lined up and played them last year. And they'll put their leg in that pants one at a time, just like we will, and that'll happen. And we played them, on the road, and we're able to square off and slug with them. And so they're coming down to our place right now. We're going to have that same approach. A healthy respect, because it's deserved. It's not, it's real. But at the same time, we know that we're going to take our shots.
Steve, the reason why they played them so close last year, one of them was Burnham. He had 2 touchdowns and right before he got hurt and everything. And you had a chance to watch the tape. What are your thoughts on him thus far this season? He's having a really good year in his role to play in this game.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think Bernard had a great winter, a great spring, a great preseason, and he's done well in the first 2 games. And obviously, it's another week and another opportunity, and it's going to be a little faster and a little bigger, and the game's going to be a little, more souped up. I mean, that's just the way it is. And but I mean, again, he's going to rise to that and have a great game. There's a lot of factors that go into games, Sometimes you sit too much. Like, I'm not real much into, I think the value from a year ago is the value that you mentioned, is the fact that, hey, okay, now, this is not like the first time, some storied programs you're playing against them. I mean, you've done that, and that's an advantage. But every game is different, If you put the ball on the ground, you're not going to win the football game. I don't really care who you play. You might have a chance to survive it against an inferior opponent, right? But when you start going to matchup play or even play where they have some advantages, you've got to take care of the football. You can't let up big plays. All of the plan to win starts to become really magnified. Last week, we put the ball on the ground 4 times. We lost 1 of the 4. We can't do that and survive this week. It's not going to happen, okay? And same for them now. They can't go putting the ball on the ground 5 times either and stalling drives. And so those things have a tendency sometimes to, to move the playing field a little bit, and the goal is to try to get that off the table for us. We got to get that off the table. We can't make it easy now. And so last year, this year, next year, it's kind of irrelevant to all that. That's just a matter of flat execution and taking care of the football, and not turning the thing over.